Okay, so I'm live again. Exhausted, a little, faded, and I'm hearing myself again because I'm on my own profile again. So turn that off. So what are we looking at here? What we're looking at here is my attempt to. I'm reading my blobchain.io company concept to serve up IPF interplanetary file system private networks. And I'm just feeling restless, so I feel like kind of jumping on here and rambling to no one but myself, and posting about it. So, Blockchain's goal. So I broke it down into mission, the reality of what my idea is, and what it could be, and what it is today. Right. Actually, one second. I'm gonna run away for 2 seconds. My battery powered headset right now. It's pretty sick. Um, so, and because the reality is a little brutal, to be honest with you, I have all these great pipe dreams and there are some challenges ahead to get to that next step of monetization of this concept in an ethical way that isn't ad revenue generated. A lot of those things, right? And ad revenue is not out of the question, but what it is like I want to have the client host the infrastructure for us, like in terms of the UI, in terms of a lot of these things. But that's maybe more down towards the people chain. Human chain was a bit weird in my last video where I have my roadmap I'm working on here, and I imported Font Awesome library, which is really cool. And I have my community stream sexy ass logo my sister Zoe Treforos made. She rocks. Real design eye. A lot of thought went into the what do you call it? See, I'm not good at this stuff. Um, it's not iconography. It's not calligraphy. What is it? Not fonts. Well, it's something that it's an art form or how art in terms of text or it's pissed me off. I'll have to ask her and update it. But like she put a lot of thought in this. I asked her to use the golden ratio in every way she could. She blew me away. She showed me all the I'm like, I want diagrams. I want that to be in my real pitch for kind of cohesiveness, the thorough thought in what we're going to be building and the community we're going to build as a social media. But that again is it's a little uneven. I know I said earlier it's pissed me off. So I need to zoom in, grab that. Nope, nope, grab that. Yep. So we're gonna ungroup it. So yeah, I'm getting sidetracked. Yeah, so this is the document or like the roadmap that doesn't have. My friend mentioned, well, it doesn't have ETAs or timelines. I'm like, yeah, I've learned the hard way. ETAs are hard to stick to, or timelines are really challenging to stick to. And so what I want to do is separate the actual like product missions and company mission as like a kind of higher level thought of the industry and how we're going to apply something unique to it and disrupt it. And not even disrupt because I don't want to take over the industry, but I want to show the industry how things could be done and how to give users control, and not just control, lack of control in some ways. Apple did a great job with that, where they restrict the experience so they can control to make sure your data is secure. And there's a lot of things that they don't have to worry about that they've already tied up conceptually with your personal information, ensuring security and resiliency. Those things. And I'm like almost like spouting terms at this point. Um, I like to do that. It's a lot of fun. A friend mentioned it's not centered, so it's not. So how do I? So I need to. No, I'm getting off tangenty. See, this is why I'm recording myself because I get on tangents, and I'm gonna have to. If I build a company, I'm gonna have to hire people to project manage my ass. It's pretty funny. So let's group. I'm gonna move it all the way to the side here. Grab this group. Oh, perfect. We'll just, and then I'll move it to the side. So we have here one, two, three, four. Okay. And now we've condensed it. Now we can move that here. that. We're gonna group it. Actually, yeah. So it's not centered. Let me group all of it. I see why. So it's the middle of that, so I need to shift it a little over. And that feels a little more centered. So this is just the PNG, which sucks. Well, now I apparently have fragmented files, so working in Draw.io, I am not skilled. Let's save. So update. The update is for G. So that sucks. um, hmm. A problem for another fucking day. That's all I gotta say about it. So we updated it. Ah, much more condensed, a little more centered. It is still let's PNG, new window. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a horrible thing. I'm gonna just do that. Copy it. We're gonna paste it in. What we're gonna do is we're going to center it. It's fucking gorgeous, man. But this is even a thing. Yeah, so that's really sick. So Draw.io, yep, update it, condensed PNG format. Let's go back to PNG. Leave. So there's that. Let's see if it's there. Those quick updates. Yep. Bitchin', man. See, it looks no different to the actual export, which is badass. Um, but you'll notice it looks different on the actual draw IO, so that's cool. I'm being a little bit obsessive right now. So back to what I'm really here to talk about. So I'm really here to talk about what are my blue skies that I posted here before on Open Collective. Um, I need my water. I'm parched. So yeah, I'll just keep talking while I'm walking because this is the rambling developer, right? You'll see I ramble everywhere. So the general concept is to really hammer out distributed web applications as a professional, as a developer, but also as an organizational level, because I think it's a very valuable concept. It's really what scaling actually thrives on, or what how scaling is implemented through distribution of layers of orchestration as well as computation. Um, so yeah. All right, back from intermission. So yeah, so I wrote down the mission, the reality of this concept, the requirements that's going to really that it will have, and it's super high level, just a two-sentence thing. So what a cop out, and the goals of what this project is. So Tradeforce Group LLC once again is my contracting as well at balance $0, which is fucking factual. uh, what a world. Um, so it's a startup from nothing. It's grassroots. But I'm going to be contracting to good friends of mine, and I'm not going to disclose the client or their name, the company that will be working with me, which is I really appreciate them. Shout out to, but without saying names. Thank you for taking the chance and working with me still, like I used to. But allow me to pursue my own organization to try to build the ethical thing I want to see in the world. So blockchain.io is the first product to try to monetize the tooling I envision of the future of the internet. It's a little crazy, but I really believe like Snowflake is a cloud competitor, and now they're worth 30 billion. My dad was saying because Warren Buffett said it was cool. But I want to build a platform that's that secure, that thoughtful, that resilient, and have modules that can be replaced over time by other people or in my organization as a whole, um, to provide reliability and trust. And that's worth every pound, dollar, and thought is just trust in a company, in a technology, and the tooling to make that easy. That's the biggest thing for people like me, developers, who ramble and know half of the things they ramble about, and the other half they're totally still figuring out. and reading about constantly. So, without further ado, I mentioned that Blobchain's goal is to recreate Google Drive, Dropbox, Mega Upload like functionality using tools published freely for the open security and understanding. Um, I want to encourage reuse. We want to encourage reuse of tooling and innovate beyond and on top of the IPFS blockchain Merkle DAG structure. And I really went to there because I want to show that I'm not just some fuckboy who's just saying terms. I've taken time, quite a bit of my time to understand. I've lost money in the Ethereum game, and I say game because that's all it was a gamble. It wasn't real money. But the money I put in to do it was real money. But IPFS Interplanetary File System is running on is trying to mimic the hyper or not Hyperledger. Hyperledger is the Linux Foundation's version, but the blockchain ledger system that is a trustless source tree. Because IPFS and file systems are trees, as many of us who are familiar with file structures, or even think DOM HTML structure. It's all tree to describe the layers, the directories to the files, and the properties and permissions to get there. Um, so I want to use that structure, the blockchain structure, to create a trustless system and something that we can all depend on, without exposing private information, most of all, and how we can encapsulate private information in the industry, and what I've learned to be HIPAA compliant, to be cognizant of where you're putting your client or people's data, especially the ones that can hurt the most. So I want to use accepted and innovative method because the truth is I'm kind of inventing some of this shit. I don't believe in cryptocurrency and the coin-based system. I think tokens are the foundation of blockchains and trusts, and API communication. But giving the user that is how they lose their money, their wallet, quote unquote, and lose all their coins. I think we need something better, something more resilient, something that doesn't disappear even with faults. People can't just transfer your fucking money out of your wallet because without you at least knowing it happened and how to remedy the situation. Blockchain failed miserably with that, with Ethereum forking and blockchain or Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Gold and Bitcoin. It's all malarkey. So the reality is blockchain is an idea at the moment, with actual effort being pursued by me, because I like to talk in third person in my own fucking organization, under my own organization, which is Trayforce Group LLC. So I'm like trying to loosely couple my entities, while kind of like how we do in engineering. But this is to enable my tax and employment benefits like health insurance. But for now, I'm going to actually be approaching it as a single person broker personal. I want to see where the citizenship aspect as an individual. What can I get for health insurance? What can the common man? And I want to document a lot of this. I want people to know what it takes to really get health insurance, how much it costs to fucking pay it, what the hospitals charge. Like this is information that's actually more valuable to the people to know and talk about than it is to the organizations to hold. And they're not supposed to disclose it, but we're allowed to disclose it. Kind of like talking about your salary. It's a hush hush, no game, but like it's how we all learn we're underpaid and wait, the companies are making $1 billion and I only make what, like 70,000 or 200,000, and who's making 2 million? Like that's the kind of questions you want to answer. Um, and profit share, I think, is the solution to that. So employment benefits, as well as for, as I mentioned, private contracting capability to fund the blockchain and the storage chain concept, which my repository is JS Storage Chain on GitLab. The tools released to support this project will be owned by Trayforce Group LLC, and I still have the consensus is out for me on what I mean by owned. For now, it's all free. Download it, use it. It's code. It's proprietary. Published it on the free web. The world can go use it. There's no license tag to it. Therefore, you're allowed to use it legally. So go fucking use it. There's nothing there so far. It's a lot of ideas, a lot of conjecture. But as it matures, I'm gonna have to get a lawyer. Um, So yeah, the project will be owned and operated on GitLab, and I'm gonna work on how the hell I'm gonna emit open source people, but we'll work on a process, how to document, how to make it comfortable, and try to see if I can apply it to IPFS and other things I believe in to help them mature and grow, because they're essentially an organization in their own right, but not the triangle version, as Open Collective calls it, a circle. Kind of what I feel like Triveris Consulting was trying to do with their flat structure that they called it, but it's more of a circle, and it's hard for to conceptualize, so I didn't get it at the time. So the intent is to have a for-profit or for a profit share mechanism. Wow, I don't even know what I'm reading in my own text. So I want a profit share mechanism for the tools. Like I would like, if you make millions of dollars off this, I kind of want a percent off that. So I'm gonna have to lawyer up and figure out what is ethical around that. Like describe why is it ethical to make that percentage, and that we have the discretion to not, but also certain rules that like if you're a nonprofit, fuck it, you get it for free. But I don't want the NFL fucking taking advantage of this and making money off it. Like that, they're a nonprofit that's kind of sketch. So like I don't know, I'll have to define that in legal speak. But like just like Community Stream, I want plain English so consumers can use it without fearing for the licensing lawsuits, you know. So it'll probably be more of an honor system, and I think we'll all be wealthy enough off that, hopefully, to keep an organization and people comfortable and innovating. So while one organization represents a single planet or even a galaxy as the tools for secure data storage with trust are evolved, the building more consumer-facing services on top. So that was not a cohesive sentence. So we'll just start there. So yeah, so it's a so oh yeah, it's a for profit with a profit share mechanism for the tools, as I mentioned, for licensing under the future SaaS company, which is Blobchain. So it's a software as a service company that stores data for people like Dropbox, as I mentioned. I also want to create other APIs, but it might not be Blobchain that runs it. Blobchain might reference it because they're going to be under my control for the time being, but we'll figure out what that really means in long term. A lot of things are up in the air. A lot of things. Human chain turned to people chain. My friend thought human chain was a weird one. He's thinking it's human centipede or something weird because so we're going people chain. Feels a little less violating to him, I think, or I don't know. His mind goes weird places. Um, so what's the requirements? The requirements is this can be a platform with the intent to explore the needs of security, accessibility, and durability. Yeah, I pay attention in computer science class. What about it? In a way an end user can understand. So can't write the emphasis on the syllables or weird syllables. I want to explore the needs of security, accessibility, and durability in a way that an end user can understand, developer or not. I went to school to learn how the internet worked. It's a little simple. It's not actually simple, turns out. But I want to like kind of the way mythology or other things like take the concepts, translate it into something other people understand, and feed it to them in a way that's fun, in the way that's engaging, in a way that takes their expectations and slows them down a little bit. Because the internet's fast, but we are in too much of a fast world where we expect everything now, now, now. But if you have an animation, if you have something that feels like it's a part of the experience, people don't necessarily skip it right away. And if they do hit skip, well, let's have a way that we can actually go, sorry, bud, like, we're actually loading something right now. That's why we're showing you, like, planets floating around and the sun popping up and new planets forming, right? Moons, whatever is the services, satellites, rockets, whatever. I want to have cool animations. To start, Blobchain is going to be the ugly animations. It's going to be just a blob filling up or simple water flowing up in a circle for the loading. Very simple stuff. But I want to build like other planetary or animations, mythological animations, to be able to have companies that build experience on top of tools like this and show how that tool chain can really evolve using systems like this and kind of working both in the practical method of how can we monetize this, but also how can we enhance this experience. Because I'm sick of Google Drive just being Google Drive. I'm sick of it having some of the flaws that I wish it could have, but it can't. And it can, but like, one, is it well promoted? Is that the real gain monetarily? No. Is it? There's a lot of things, a lot of questions I have about why the experience is lacking, and it's because they're a large company split between so many other facets of their business. They're just selling it to be a office suite that competes with Microsoft. I don't want to be that. I don't. I just want to compete with Dropbox or Box or other organizations. So, in the future, more public services are going to be innovated or will be innovated to utilize the proposed software tooling suite I want to kind of concoct. I'm starting with JavaScript, but I'm probably going to have to focus on a language that targets WASM for my compute side of things. But that's later than storage chain. That's the people chain aspect of the blockchain networks, peer-to-peer networks. So currently blockchains can be built using IPFS and Web 2.0 technologies. So to lend its record keeping capabilities, but I want to do one better, keep it a private network and secure it behind a login while offering public ledger consensus, which is like what makes a blockchain essentially, between distributed peers, storing the data blocks that say this is the structure. Think Git and like how everything has a hash, and the hash is built off all the previous, but it's non-colliding in its own domain, its own space, right? So, and the truth is, with hash tables, collisions happen. They do. It's rare. They do. I expect it. That's one thing I learned about hash tables in school. Everything can collide. Uh, expect malware to be the PRID, to be the same as a file that's non-malicious. I expect that on IPFS. That's why I want to have a private network. So only what I inject in my own network through my own tools and my own users can actually make it outside. So if we're infected, it's not going to go infect every IPFS fucking node. It's going to only infect my own. It's about being responsible with your technology as well. So while offering the public ledger consensus to show practical methods of joining a private network and public network. So Polkadot kind of talks about this, about joining multiple networks. And I think they're admirable, but I think they're again in the greed sector using cryptocurrency and coins to monetize on it. And I don't think that's the way to monetize on it. So they have concepts of bridge nodes. So actually, let's go there. Let's. I looked up narcissistically because I'm posting stuff. Oh Jesus, scary. Who knows what's going to be in my Google search? What was I looking at? Polkadot. Polkadot. Polkadot.network. I love it. It's live. True interoperability because they're using lib peer-to-peer multi-formats from Protocol Labs. Yeah, whoop you fucking do. So is IPFS, and I think that's why I trust them. They're a little bit less greedy. They're not all about making money. So they have economic and transactional scalability. Cute. Okay, whatever that means. In the terms of building apps or building things. And maybe I'm ignorant. Probably ignorant. Usually am. Easy blockchain innovation, that's cool. Substrate is a cool framework that allows you to build this, but I'm kind of aiming to reinvent Substrate. That's the truth. Take it or leave it, right? Forkless and future-proof, that is what I'm talking about. That's where they have a great innovation. They're pretty much doing what I want to do, but they're using coins. Security for everyone, whoop-de-fucking do. What does that mean? I really don't understand it, and I'd have to learn a lot more, but I don't want to. I'm going to invent it myself, and I should understand a little bit more so I can kind of learn the rights and wrongs and learn their issue log, right? That's what we do with IPFS. So I have to go slow, have other people study this with me. That'll be part of the business, unfortunately. Or fortunately, not unfortunately. So as governance, that's cool, but like I think that's a layer you can have. I don't want governance. Fuck governance. They want staking. What does that even mean? Bonding. It's all economic. I don't want to worry about money. Fuck money. I want to worry about crunching numbers for you and showing you a cool video on your fucking screen. Um, yeah, Whoop-de-doo, Web3 Foundation. It's all fucking money grabs. That's all it really is. But Web3 has a lot to be said, but like it's money grabs because they're trying to. So where is it? It's not. So it's technology, right? I think it's technology. Here it is. I mean, they have cool imagery. I really like it. I'm gonna have to redraw it so I don't steal it technically. Because the relay chain. So they have responsible for network shared security and consensus, cross-chain interoperability. Interesting. I find that interesting. I'm probably gonna have to head this way. Parachains, sovereign blockchains that can have their own tokens and optimize their functionality for specific use cases. Interesting. Don't really know what that means. Parathreads, similar to a parachain, but with similar pay-as-you-go model. Yeah. See, we're all back to money. Money, money, money. Stupid. Now, bridges, this is what I like about. So it's connecting Ethereum to their chain model. That's badass. I like that. I even like their logo. I'll redraw it, and it'll be fair use. So it allows parachains and parathreads to connect and communicate with external networks like Ethereum and Bitcoin. So that's really what IPLD does, I thought. So I'm going to reuse IPFS tools that really unify blockchain. Fuck Polkadot. But thank you for the concepts. I appreciate it. Saved me a lot of effort to explaining to rich people who don't understand it that, hey, someone else is doing it. So they're like, oh, yeah, cool idea. I'm in. I'm so sorry, any future investors. I am a dick. And sometimes not emotionally intelligent. So yeah, nominators secure relay chain by selecting trustworthy validators and staking dots. Interesting. Cool. I could own some of those nominators, but when does that ownership become centralization? I'm not sure. Validators. So secure the relay chain by staking dots, validating proofs from collectors, and participating consensus with other validators. See, proofs. Like, I hate proofs. Like, all of this concept is lame. Like, We don't need people to prove they're non-malicious, because if they're malicious, they're gonna figure out a way to get around it. Collators, so interesting. I don't remember reading this one. Maintain shards by collecting shard transactions from users and producing proofs for validator. Whatever the fuck that means. Fisherman, this is the one I like. So, monitoring the network and reporting bad behaviors to validators. Interesting. So, maybe validators mean something more, and I really don't understand what collators mean in relation to that, but alright, cool. So, collators in any parachain, full node can perform the fisherman role. Epic. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. It's like, kind of like a way to block off other networks from harming your network. That's what we need. Governance rules. So they have council members, technical committees. Dear God, I'm not even gonna go down that fucking rabbit hole. So back to this. So yeah, I went through the requirements. So now the project. So what is the goals of this project? This project will be async for some time. It's pretty much me rambling on Twitch while doing more business aspects of this, so I can be able to get investment and or secure possible investment in the future once I start sinking my teeth into the real implementation. So once I have demos to show someone, my CFO guy says maybe demos isn't the right way. I'll scare him off, but I still want to get my hands dirty and build some things, but I have to now be careful and do it on my local dev because I racked up a bill on AWS and it's not been kind, especially as a broke entrepreneurial spirit who left his job to pursue his dreams during COVID because he's an idiot. Um, and he's not emotionally intelligent. But although I'm not emotionally intelligent, where's the book? Do I have the book? Bookity book, 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 book. Here it is. I recommend this book. I gotta reread it. Emotional Intelligence 2.0, um, by Travis Bradbury and Gene Greaves. Really great book. Super easy freaking read. It's one of the things I need to get back into is reading more books. Since college, I've just read online articles, and I don't want to say I'm Trump and fake news media machines, but I find myself grasped by a lot of things that don't matter. Um, and books like this matter. This is the growth of my own professional career as myself as a child who throws his own like adult temper tantrums. This is where I suck. And so having this introspective like view at life will make me more successful, and we'll see. I don't apply it 90% of the time, it turns out, even if I know about it. Self-awareness, but no. Well, I'll read it and tell you what I don't have. Um, so yeah, the goal is going to be async, casual updates on GitLab, more focus on the business until my friends and colleagues really think it's time to build something to before I can then ask for investment because I need to show value. And I need it. So I'm telling everybody to expect a modularized JavaScript repository, TypeScript repository that implements HTTPS proxy / gateway. I don't know if I'm going to do that right away because it's not pertinent to the exact business model. It's pertinent to CDN gateway, but we'll see. That's not the first tool I need to build. As I mentioned here, the first tool I need to build is the login. And what that includes, and I have a list scribbles here of login provider service that can link someone like Okta or any other login provider, so I don't have to be responsible for P2 information. I just hold a giant number for you and relay everything back to that giant number or whatever it is they feed me, and how to build a data structure and entities using traditional database and Web 2.0, as I mentioned here in the login, that track roles, those base things that I'm going to need for my application, and I just don't have hammered out yet because I don't know what I need. The private network key service, so that's next. That is to orchestrate private networks between peer-to-peer. You need three nodes for consensus in a private network, but the first two nodes can be it, but the main point is how you lock down IPFS nodes from being able to talk to each other, and so they can only talk to like peers. That's gonna be a fun thing to explore because I don't know how I'm gonna have to. I might have to give it the IPFS node's name or address, which is like this multi-format address that's only related to IPFS scope, which is badass. That's why multi-format and Protocol Labs is pretty cool. You should check them out. And to make it so they can't communicate. So they only can. So I don't know what that's going to look like. So that's going to be a fun challenge. Then you got the actual deployment of that on the cloud, and the continuous integration, continuous development. As we see real value, that's where that's going to have to be hammered out. But I want to have the tools ready. Maybe even do it myself. Maybe do it with another person. Discord, I think, is a 10-person team. So if I start slow, bite off pieces I can chew, I'm gonna once I get through these layers, we're gonna really see storage chain come to life. It's gonna take time though. Now IPFS, HTTPS CD, that's why the HTTPS gateway is needed for the IPFS node wrapper to have a CDN host. So I want to have a public host that I can trust isn't going to serve up malware. I can point my domain name server records to that host, and when you hit it with HTTP, it sends you a generic document that says, "Hey asshole, you're using an insecure protocol," and you could be hacked right now because this file is plain text over the wire, not encrypted. I want to educate users because right now the biggest issue, the biggest attack vector in businesses is that these older people or even younger people don't know to copy links out of buttons in their emails. They don't know to use HTTPS over HTTP. This should be common knowledge, but it just isn't. And it's the difference between a company being hacked and all their money disappearing and client information being exposed and having a bad brand or exposure or like bad PR, I guess you could say, versus having a secure one. So that's going to be fun. I'm really excited about that because I think it's a big vector for attack that is commonly talked about in the business field. Welcome to whoever joined. I'm rambling off over here as the rambling developer. I'm talking about kind of my company goal on Open Collective for an open source company that is transparent but for profit, Blobchain, and that's kind of like my rambles of what is my mission, the reality of it, requirements, and my goals. So I'm at my goals. Please feel free to take a look at the video earlier. But the general idea is, where am I? Who am I? Da, 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 da. Yeah, I was going through each one of these in the roadmap I see ahead. So that's how I'm going to be able to store my client-side applications, JavaScript, and all my other cool things in a storage platform, content delivery network system that's running a IPFS behind a HTTPS proxy, which I was describing here in my modules I should expect to build. So that one's going to be one of the last ones, as you can see in that list, really. I tried to make that list in order of what I have to build. I'm going to have authentication for OAuth, or Auth0. I put OAuth. That's I'm such an idiot sometimes. Or Okta integration. Gotta go correct that. I'm gonna get scolded by all the supreme nerds above me. Um, so IPFS node with configuration. So code that like secures it down, reduces only in the encrypted port, turns off the HTTP layer entirely, right? Like those kind of things, because IPFS is secure in its peer-to-peer connections, as long as it's configured appropriately with the latest version, just like every other server and technology out there. But over HTTP, because it does not support HTTPS, because a client, sorry, not clients, certificate authorities, and those concepts around servers and IPs and levels of trust in the current Web 2.0 world, they couldn't secure it on HTTP, Hypertransfer Text Protocol, or Hypertext Transfer Protocol, something like that. And so then you should expect a Vue login, because I just like Vue. It's cool, it's hip, it has some clean features about CSS. I'm starting to question if that's true or not. IPFS private consensus, so that's one of the big things about the swarm key management. So I actually really looked into what that even fucking means and how I can build it into a service that's more abstract. So that's the private network service, and so many more, which is kind of my catch-all for the rest of that map. So I'm looking forward to working with the open source community. I'm so sorry, people. I'm a narcissist, it seems, but with self-awareness, but not enough to stop it, apparently. Um, uh, so I'm really hoping I can make this something I can be proud of, other people can be proud of, and I'm looking forward to really kind of moving towards investment once I have some real things solidified as, like, what do I want my organization to be? How are we going to do our business workflows? How are we going to onboard people? What does the benefits look like? And it's all going to start from sole proprietorship, me, grassroots, from contracting startup, that will fund storage chain development, people chain. This is my draw.io. Ah, fuck me. Drop my water everywhere. Oh god. And that is the end of the stream, folks. We'll see. Oh god, everywhere. Shit. Good thing I have teak oil desk. Sorry, my room has my electronics been out. It's a disaster, but I didn't care to clean it for the stream. I'm a rambling developer. You get to see me in all my forums. Congratulations, you chose to watch this. Okay, so let's get back to what I was doing. Okay, everything's pretty dry, yeah. Not bad. So yeah, people chain. Because human chain was a little bit weird for my friend. And I'm going to trust his gut reaction. So peer-to-peer or person-to-person, private networks. So who do you trust to do the work for you? But like, we give you the repositories to run the code. Simple as that. Which would be sweet. Kind of like the OpenWhisk serverless model that they run. You upload the code to a MongoDB, it just runs the build command, and then it runs the execute with the parameters. It's not rocket science, it's functional programming, wrapped in library and object-oriented programming, really, at the end of the day. So, Community Stream is that last part after I finalize the blockchain storage level for private information and non-private information, and what sessions look like, all those things. Hopefully by people chain, we're going to start rethinking some of the we're going to start rethinking the Web 2.0 layer, and moving parts of it as seen fit, as investors and stakeholders and other developers really think it makes the most sense on how we can decentralize all of it. But the truth is we can't. But we want to move as close to it as we can and have competitors beat us using our own tools. And show us how it's done. That's how innovation's supposed to be done. I want someone to take the innovation and do it better than me. That's capitalism. Cloud hosted with the poop storm. Fucking love it. Shitstorm. That's what fucking cloud is to me. A shitstorm. So yeah, and I want people chain to support many common application accelerating tools or acceleration tooling. Think Amazon Web Services, simple queuing service, simple notification service, content delivery network, or content management systems. You name it. IPFS and other business logic layers can accomplish that. And we can just build applications instead of focusing on the same solutions over and over using common tools. And that's the truth. We already do that using Microsoft and whatnot. But I've coded things that directly work with only Amazon. I broke it out into cloud services. I broke it out into an Amazon layer, and the cloud service uses the Amazon layer. But I want something better. I want something truly asynchronous. HTTP threads only are a single thread. So therefore, I can't call to the database layer, call to other config things, fetch 3 things at once, and then compute each things that are separate. Like, instead, I'm forced to do one, then the other, then the other, then the other on common HTTP. That's why we're seeing gateways existing. That's why we're seeing lambdas exist, because it abstracts away all these concepts of one box versus many boxes versus hundreds of boxes, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. What matters is the results for your user and how much it costs you to operate that. And that's where we need to separate each one of those concerns, which I'm gonna have to rewind this video because who knows what I just said because I forgot. But yeah, so the idea is people chain is going to reduce the cost for reducing, oh god, reduce the cost for hosting infrastructure for media and client-side applications. But also, I hope the compute layer too, like the logic layer. So maybe I worded that wrong. I want freedom of speech to be a big piece of Community Stream, and I want fair moderation and communications to the users and community that it was moderated. I want everyone to know that this was taken down and why. And if we need to stand by our guns, we will. And if the community stands by it, great. Sometimes if they don't, well, we're gonna have to figure out where we stand and why it's ethical, and why we have to as an organization and group of people for a healthy community. Social media. But I don't want to be the thought police that is described in Orwellian society. That would be sick. And I feel like that's where we're headed through ad networks. Who would have thought? Because these social medias are all just really giant ad networks. So thank you for joining my rambles. Blobchain, check out. It's cool. Not filled out. Open Collective, check out. Trade Force Group LLCs, not really filled out collective. I'm posting more of my rambles here. I worked at a consulting firm that referred to all employees as colleagues, because they're not employees. They're people that work to build the better company that you're under with. part of, right? The non-triangle, the circle organization that Open Collective is all about. And in hindsight, so is my consulting firm in their own way, but still trying to fit in the model to be able to meet the demand, and in their niche. And they've been doing a great job. I've learned a lot. So kudos to them. They just hit their 3 years. I'm really, really excited for them and their future and hope to be a part of it. But I hope I can show why blockchain is not just a hype phrase. It's something that really builds, it reinvents some things, but if we use it smart, just like any tool in our toolkit, on our tool belt, we can really build new, easier things. Code's about making lives easier, not harder. Not harder, but it seems to make people's lives harder. So my YouTube, which I'll be reposting this shortly to end the night. Actually, I'm not going to end the night. I'm actually going to pull up one book before I leave. Is Code Coffee Cats. Check it out. I just reposted the last stream on there to keep a record, a ledger. Um, yeah, so check it out. Check out my updates. They're really more of my rambles, just like Rambling Developer. I'm less honest. Well, I'm pretty honest about it and how my narcissism is plays into it. But because I want to call those things out, so when I get other people to realize that, yeah, I'm a little bit. I'm talking in third person. I want other people to help and work with me. I don't want to have them work for me. Um, and it's a paradigm I'm still working on understanding. And I experienced it at a cooperative company I worked at in college, and I want to bring that to corporate America if I could. So I'm gonna pull up all my books here, so I'm gonna embarrass myself. So business model generation, and please don't sue me. Um, I'm gonna go to the first page. So I'm reading this, and I recommend people um, look into it. So the business model generation, the handbook for visionaries, game changers, and challengers. Wow, it sounds awful when I read it like that, but I took a seminar in college. I recommend reading this if you're ever interested in starting a business, approaching e-commerce, any kind of business really. They have a graph here, or please don't sue me, please don't sue me. So they have like a diagram that kind of looks like this, and it allows you to literally do this. It's that cool. So simple. Look how simple. I got to read this again. I obviously need to learn more. So take this off the screen. Sorry, please don't sue me. But I really encourage people to buy, download, and read the Business Model Generation by many, many people. Let me go back to the author's name. Written by Alexander Osterwalder and Yves Bigner. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for that pronunciation. Please, someone tell me how I can say that better. Designed by Alan Smith. The Movement. The Movement. It's like the situation. It's just like I do with abs, but he's really just the ultimate designer. The editor and co-author is Tim Clark, and production is by Patrick Van Dier Pilgi. Who knows? And co-created by an amazing crowd of 470 people from 45 countries. This is a badass book. I recommend it highly. So yeah, with that, I'm gonna read a little more of this book. Gonna post this onto YouTube, and have a good night. Peace out.